Welcome to the Business of Hearing podcast, the #1 marketing and practice growth podcast for high-performing private practice hearing care leaders. It's Friday, and this is my end-of-week roundup of what's top of mind after 7 days of helping some of the world's best private practices to attract high-quality patients, fight the evil forces of manufacturer-owned chains, and be impossible to compete with. My name's Ollie Luke. Pull up a chair, pour yourself a drink, and let's have a chat. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business of Hearing podcast. And today I want to talk about the very exciting subject of earwax. Because, one of the challenges from many of the practices I speak to that we run into is they're getting too many earwax removal leads. And we know this, right? Is like, if you look at search, how many people are searching hearing aids, hearing care, hearing loss, it's pretty tiny. Look at how many people are searching earwax removal. The market is huge. Now, as practices, like, you can tap into that so easily. Like, fundamentally, just do the basics to a gold standard or even a basic standard, to be fair, and you'll probably win. There's not a lot of people fighting for that traffic. It's not where many people are spending ads, like the big groups, the big Goliaths that we see trying to fight for it. It's open water. And if you have a basic web page essentially saying, we do this, and here's some evidence that we're kind of good at doing it, even a picture of you doing it, you'll get so many inquiries for earwax removal. Now, that sounds easy. That sounds like a simple thing to do, but it creates a conundrum, right? Because you had no ambition to build a practice around earwax. Like, you're going to get lots of leads, and it's not at the cost of other leads. It doesn't mean you're not getting less people who are looking for hearing loss, hearing tests, etc. There's just an abundance of people in the market for it, and it's an easier battle to win. So you get all these leads, and this is the challenge that I'm seeing practices run into, is they're like, these leads are driving me crazy, right? I get them in, and they spend $100. It kind of covers our money. We're not really making much profit. And my schedule is absolutely full of them. So I really want to talk towards this because it creates a few questions, right? Of firstly, how do we make these leads worth it? Should we turn them off? If we do it, how do we do it correctly? And I just want to share a few of the things that I've learned and observed, especially if you're in the same situation of having a vast quantity of earwax removal leads. First thing I want to talk about is price and expectation, because it's quite interesting. Like, nobody's really given you the playbook on how you should price for this. Like, when you're selling hearing aids and hearing care, the old school way was take hearing aids and really follow what manufacturers give us as recommended retail price, or put a certain percentage on it as margin, and it's kind of more from there. With earwax removal appointments, I've seen practices charging $30 up to $200. Like, there's no real normal fee that should be charged for this. And if you're in a situation where you're getting a quantity of leads right now to the point that it's like, we're getting a lot of these and they're a challenge, here's my encouragement: just keep making it more expensive until you realize the right balance. And what you 100% should have is the page where people are finding you for this and then making the inquiry. Please set price and expectation out really clear. If these are not profitable appointments, they need to be streamlined. And a patient calling to ask how much it is your resource that is wasted. How can you have the price on that page, and how can you have the expectation of how they schedule, what happens when they turn up, how long the appointment is, and any FAQs answered? Like, strip out any of the admin that could surround that appointment to ensure patients in, patients out. You're maximizing the profit and minimizing the time that they spend with you. That would be the first thing. But the second thing is stretch that number, because if there's a quantity of leads to the point that, like, there's too much of them, just increase. Okay, it's an extra $10. See what happens. And what you'll realize there's a point where there almost becomes a point of friction where you'll get less leads, but you're naturally earning more for them. And the ones that are probably going to be more cost conscious will be pushed elsewhere, which is fine if the goal is to get the right number on the schedule and not be overrun on the schedule. But keep playing with those numbers. I would be very fixed that you charge regardless. I see practices saying we don't charge if there's no wax. I think that's ridiculous. It's still your time, your practice's time, your resource. They've got to pay for that. They're not paying per chunk of earwax that's removed. That's part of the process. I think in the same way that if you visit the dentist and the dentist gives you assurance that your teeth are great, you still add 15, 20, 30 minutes at a dentist's time as he's looked through every single tooth and made sure everything's okay, regardless of if he's pulled a bunch of plaque out and give you some bad news of the work that you need doing. So I think that's really important to protect that. So that's the first bit. Second bit is, if these patients aren't hugely profitable to us, how are they valuable to us? And this is what I'd be giving serious attention to, right? Because you have a way here where you're getting a quantity of people come through your practice and experience your practice. Now, what could you do with those patients to turn them into assets that are valuable to future growth of your practice? Now, there's a couple of things. Number one is, can we document it? First of all, like, you have, in many cases, young people coming to spend time in your practice. Can you take pictures of them? Can you get their permission to have a picture of them smiling after having their earwax removed, or even during the process? Because we know one of the stigmas and challenges that stops many boomer age people coming to practices like yours is they look at your website and they just see a bunch of old people that they don't identify with. Nobody identifies with older people. We all identify more with younger people because we see ourselves as younger. If you can utilize these earwax removal leads and patients and have them naturally be more prominent faces on your website, faces across the assets that you utilize, then that will naturally pull younger people into your practice because there's familiarity with these people. So how can you create assets from them is the first one. And the second one is, we should be utilizing these just for quantity of reviews. If you've got patients coming in for an earwax removal appointment, how can we do everything we can just to turn half of them into Google reviews? If we're getting 10 a week, can we just add 5 Google reviews a week, 1 a day? Like, this would be such an easy way. And given that many of these patients are typically younger, which usually refers to them being more technological, it should mean that asking them to leave a Google review is significantly easier than 86-year-old Brenda. It's going to make a big difference. So, like, can you have something as simple as a QR code? Can you have somewhere where a phone can be instantly touched and it's triggered that it opens up on their screen, and many of the things that we see to make it very simple right now for people to leave Google reviews who have some form of simple technology related skills. But if you can utilize earwax removal leads, knowing that they're not hugely profitable right now, but we're going to utilize them for the assets in order to grow future brand, future practice, then that becomes somewhat worth it. Even if it's not financially worth it today, it's financially worth it in the long run. But that's what I'd be playing with. Where's the elasticity of price? How much can you stretch that to a point that you're creating friction, that you get more of the right people and minimize the number of people? How do we ensure that expectation and price and all the questions are clearly set in advance to ensure the time they spend with you, anybody in your team, is minimized and profit is maximized? And then from there, what can we do in order to maximize the assets developed from these individual patients that come through, from photography through to reviews? They're the big things that I'd be giving consideration to, because this is a necessary evil for many practices. People need these services. There's a huge quantity of traffic of people looking for them. It's a great way to get people through your practice and know that each and every one of these who comes through your practice, they probably know someone in their life that would benefit from visiting you for a hearing test, and that will create good experience for them, which will create referral source. Now, all of this stuff is a little fluffy, right? It's not direct money in our pocket today, but we're all playing the long game. That's the reason you're probably watching this podcast is you're not here because you're looking for, like, how do I win this week? And that's all that's important. We're here for the long haul, and we're here to build businesses that have long-term value and deliver.